Hey, good afternoon. Happy Friday to you, TGIF all day long. Welcome to Real Pro Fridays, and I'm Sean Wilson, Sales Manager, New American Funding. Wow, we have an awesome guest today. He is a powerhouse in the real estate industry in the Maryland, D.C., and Virginia area, and we're going to bring him up just a moment. Just want to kind of of what our vision is at Real Pro Fridays. And so we're going to bring that on real quick. So our mission really is to interview real estate professionals to learn what has made them successful and to gain their insights and wisdom about all aspects of real estate and buying process, so that your buying process, your home selling process can be an enjoyable and amazing experience. And so with no further ado, I'm going to bring to you today the Guy Allen, associate broker, EXP Realty. Hey, Guy, what's going on, sir? How are you?
Hey, Sean, thanks for having me.
Absolutely, man. I appreciate you taking time to come on Real Fridays, and just wanted to pick your brain, man. You've done some awesome things there in Virginia. I hear all about you, man. Your reputation precedes you. And everyone who's zooming in today, I want you to take note of this information. Okay, I want you to go ahead and write it down right now. Take a screenshot to get his email address, get his number, because you're going to want to call him after you hear what he has to say today. All right. So, Guy, I know we were talking earlier, and you were talking about some of the things that your home buyers and some of the things that you share with your sellers, and just wanted to pick a couple of those. I know your PowerPoint. I'm gonna bring that up in just a second, and just kind of before we get into that, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Yeah. I've been in the real estate mortgage banking business since 1977. I started coming right out of high school and went opened up a little mortgage brokerage shop and started doing mortgages so I could learn about the financing side of the business. Got my license in 1982. So now I was able to sell new homes or do mortgages and both sides of the fence. So coming down to, I got my broker's license in 1989, became a real estate broker, worked for some major real estate companies. And now in 2012, we switched over to EXP Realty. And I've been an associate broker. I was the principal broker for a couple of years. And now I'm just an associate broker, building teams around the country.
Amazing, outstanding. And so before I bring your PowerPoint, I want to, if you can kind of take a minute and think, what would you say is the number one piece of advice that you would give to your home buyers, and the number one piece of advice that you would give to your sellers once you have gained a relationship and you're about to list their house? Talk to us about that.
Great. So the first thing is get a good lender to get you pre-approved, to make sure that you're pre-approved for your financing. Any credit issues that are on there, you want to make sure those you and that lender have gone through those things and gotten rid of any problems, and you're ready, willing, and able to move forward with the purchase. So that's the number one thing from a buyer side. Number two for the seller is, okay, you're going to sell your house, but you want to have an exit strategy where you're going to go after you sell your house, because you don't want to be homeless. But if you're going to sell your house, what is the real value? Find out what the true value is, the fair market value or the saleable value of your house. So getting a good broker price opinion, or some agents will call them CMAs, comparative market analysis, to find out what your property is worth. It's not what your next door neighbor sold his for.
Right.
The street is what your house is worth based on the condition that it's in.
Amazing, amazing. So I have your PowerPoint up here. I'm going to take us off the screen, and so go ahead and kind of walk us through what you've prepared for us today, sir.
Okay, so I'm going to kind of go through some of these pretty quick. Now, let's see. Oh, there we go. This is just a little bit of information about myself, which we kind of covered, but in my schedule, my real estate business. But I work in North Virginia, been established here with this company since 2012, and we have over 2,000 agents. Without sounding too salesy, I want to give you a little bit of a roadmap here. Basically, you want to work with a real estate professional, whether it's a lender and or a agent. And Sean's a great real estate lender. He's a mortgage banker, and he can get you pre-approved. That's kind of like the second step. Meet with your agent. Then number two, get pre-approved. Then once you get that pre-approval letter in your hand, you're ready to search for homes. You don't want to go out looking for Cadillacs when you should be on the Ford lot. You don't want to go out looking. So you want to buy as much house as you can afford, but you don't want to be, have a lot of pipe dreams, because you won't be able to close on something that you're not budgeted for. And I'll use this analogy, Sean, that's kind of like, you don't want to go to the grocery store, fill up the cart, with food and steak and everything, and then to the grocery cart there, the cashier, and say, "Can you ring this up for me? Okay, I'll be back next Friday to pay for it." No, you want to have the money, you fill up the cart, and have the money ready to pay for it. That's kind of the analogy that I like to use when it comes to finding the right house. Then you're ready to make an offer. Don't go it alone. I know a lot of times people think that they can make an offer and go it alone, but believe me, there's a lot of pitfalls that come along with that. So you want to avoid the pitfalls and get a good agent that's experienced and knows how to negotiate on your behalf. So you want an agent that's negotiating for you as the buyer, because the seller has their agent. He's looking to sell his house. You need representation also. So that's
awesome.
Another thing. And then finally,
question for you real quick before you go on.
Sure.
Great point there. When speaking to your point about representation, so a lot of times the home buyers will walk into a builder site. They walk into a builder site, and then they will talk to the sales representative there. What advice or guidance would you give to home buyers who walk into a builder and conversation with them first? What advice would you say? Is that okay? Or
well, the best advice I could give you is to don't do that, because you want your agent with you and negotiate that contract, because remember, that agent works for the builder. His interest is to get as much as he can for that house for as little as possible, to you, without and you're trying to get as much as you can for the best price possible. I'm not saying the lowest price or lowballing, so to speak, but something that at least is reasonable for them to understand that you're a serious, motivated purchaser, especially in this market right now. Properties in high demand and there's low inventory. So that would be what I advise you to do.
That's outstanding. Okay, continue.
Okay, so once you go under contract and you're in escrow, and by all means, be prepared to move forward with the contract when you write it. More people than not get under contract and then they have buyer's remorse. Make sure that you are ready, willing, and able to move forward with this contract, because if for some reason you decide that you change your mind in the middle of the night or something, you put yourself under financial duress. So this is a legally binding contract, and make sure that you are ready to just go to closing. This is where you're going to live. You bought a house. There are some things that you can do to more or less get out of a contract, but that's not the reason to go in one. Is to sort of get out. Exactly. You want to go in it understand that you're moving full steam ahead and you're planning on going to closing. So you get the final details, and then you got closing date, and you get your keys to the house. So that's the,
Nice.
in a nutshell, that's the buyer's roadmap, and there's a lot more details that go into that. I don't know if we have that much time, but I'll try to hit as much of it as possible.
Question for you. All
Yes,
right.
sir.
So I hear different things from different real estate professionals, and I have, of course, my thought about it. But it's not today. Is not about me. It's about you and what you do and your team. And so sometimes I hear that it's more important to get pre-approved first, reach out to your lender first. Have here on your roadmap is that they need to talk with a real estate professional first. Talk to me a
Yeah.
little bit about more about that importance of that.
Okay. So, and it can be either side. From my side, it's always about talking to the agent first because I want to be able to control that process and who they go to as a lender. From a lender standpoint, lender's going to talk to them, and then, hey, they're going to make sure that they get with an agent that's going to look out for their best interest too. So, a real estate professional would be a lender like yourself, or a real estate salesperson or broker. So,
Mhm.
either way, that person has to go through step one of those two people, and not your uncle that always wanted to buy a house, that
Right.
renting an apartment for 40 years, but somebody that's a real estate professional that does this for a living, and their experience, and they come with references. Um, so many people get advice from folks that owned a house 45 years ago, and they don't own it anymore, and the market has changed, contracts have changed, laws have changed, loans have changed. There are different types of loans and financing, and a lot of different options. So don't get caught in the trap in talking to your basketball coach at school, or some other friend or neighbor about what they did. Look and talk to a real estate professional that's up to date with market real estate trends and market trends of today's market.
Amazing. Awesome. Outstanding. Question. All right. So now let's shift gears for a minute. Not sure if you have this in your PowerPoint, but um list properties. Is that correct? You also list
Yeah.
properties you go
Oh, yeah.
after. Okay. So in that process, Mr. or Mrs. Homebuyer is listed today, and you're in their living room, and walk us through some of the wisdoms that you share with them after you've gained the relationship, after you have the listing, and you're in the process of preparing to get that to market. What does that conversation look like, as much as you can share?
Sure, sure. So, staging your home is so very, very important. If you're a seller, you want to make sure that your house is uh, staged properly. In other words, you want to make it as much of a showplace as you possibly can, and not just so much the things that you like. Um, they realize if you're living there that the house is lived in, but make sure that it's clean every morning for until you go on the contract. You're going to have visitors that come to your house at during the course of the day. There's a
Hmm.
lot of tools that we can use now called showing time, so that you know in advance who's coming uh, to your house, when they're coming, and just be away from the house. Yeah, it's kind of sometimes you feel like you violated. People in your house looking all around and everything. But if you want to sell your house, people want to see what they're buying. So that's got to be a
Exactly.
win-win situation. So the best thing to do is to get out of the way. Don't stalk them, behind them. Let your agent or their agents do what they're trained to do. They're experienced and they're trained to do those things. And showing a checklist now, which is great. Ready, set, stage, and these are all the things that you need to do. Just clean up the clutter, plan ahead. So many times I've gone to houses, and the different foods that are in the house, just like reek and hit you right there. you got pets, put them away. Um, uh, just show off the best features that you can possibly show off. But even going back to the beginning stages, take the advice of the real estate agent, the listing agent, to see what they think is going to best showcase your home, put it in the best light. So take a person that's experienced. And I'm just going to kind of gloss through some of these right here. Updating, updating your kitchens and bathrooms. Sell houses more than anything else.
Yes.
The kitchens and bathrooms, because those are the most functional parts of the house, the HVAC system. So make sure that kitchen is standing tall. If you can update it, great. If you want to put some money in anything in the house, put it in the kitchen and the bathrooms. They just get your money back. Yeah, 1.5 times you're going to get that money back. Make sure that you got good curb appeal. Cut the grass, trim the hedges. So many times I've seen people pull up to a house. I've had them in my car pull up to the front of the house, and they look at the yard and say, "No, keep going," because they just don't like the way it looks on the front.
Looks.
Right.
Exactly.
On the front, the yard's not kept, bushes not trimmed, stuff hanging down in the front. Or I've even rolled up and there was a big dog, not on a leash in the front yard of the house.
Wow.
So people are like, well, we can't get in there. And they got this big dog and he's overprotective. So just make it look desirable.
Exactly. Gotcha. Question for you. So, talk to that seller who may not have the resource. Right? It may not have the resources to do some of the things that you just mentioned. I think this list is very comprehensive. Looks like you do an excellent job with your sellers and being able to guide them to present their properties in the best light possible. And so talk to that seller who may not they have some things that they want to do, but they may not be able to do some of the major things. Are there some things that they can do on a budget, something that will just kind of make it pop as best they can, and then you have a team that could come in and help and assist cases where the seller may not be able to upgrades and the things like that.
Very good point. Yes, there's a lot of companies out here right now, and we work with the company Curbio. Curbio will come in and fix the house up, get it ready for market, and as long as there's some equity in the house, you don't have to come out of pocket with fixing it up, and you benefit on the return. So that's a great service. There's also some ways that if you don't have the timeline to do those types of things, you need to sell quickly. There's also some services that you can use to get it done, and then they get paid when it's closed. So there's lenders that'll pay for it. I mean, there's contractors that'll come in and say, "Hey, we'll fix it up. Just pay us." They'll put a lien on the house of some sort, and a second trust until it's done. But if you can get a good drawing of what it's going to look like before and after,
Okay.
right now there's 2 or 3K rehab loans. So for a buyer, this works great. A buyer says, well, hey, this person's got to move quick, but I see there's probably $30,000 in work that I need to do. We'll negotiate the price and do what's called a FHA 2 or 3K loan, or even a conventional home. I think it's home steps loan of type of some
Home
sort.
style.
Home style.
Fannie Mae home style.
Right.
Yeah.
So they can get a Fannie Mae home style loan to fix it up the way they want it. And then that way they get the sweat equity versus, the seller having to wait for it to get sold or relocate. So they're trying to move quickly, but they can close today. The purchaser can come in and do the work later. So there's a lot of different options.
Outstanding. So that's some great information. I really appreciate that. Let me ask you a question. drew you to what drew? I'm gonna throw it up on the screen. So, what drew you to the real estate industry as a career? What made you want to do this?
Well, I was I always wanted to get into banking, the banking field, because
Okay.
I realized that if I understood how the money works, then I could
Okay.
kind of accomplish some things that I wanted to accomplish. And I was one of the my family didn't own a house, so
Okay.
so I wanted us to own a house, but I realized that I couldn't write a check for a house. I needed to get some financing, so I needed to understand that. So I did that first, opened up a
Yes.
mortgage brokerage, and did very well, and brought my first house at
Mm-hmm.
19.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I felt like, well, if I'm in this position, how many other people are in a lot of the same position that don't understand how the financing works and think that they can't own? So I got in and started with my family first, and we started
Mm-hmm.
buying houses. I was putting the
Mm-hmm.
people that I knew, people in my church. I became known as the mortgage guy at that point. Then I was the real estate guy. So that's where I've gotten my tags from, because as back then, it just wasn't, a lot of people didn't know about, how to buy a house, what the process was.
Right.
And so
Uh-huh.
that's where I got the tag, the real estate guy. I was the mortgage guy when I was in the mortgage business, and then I'm the real estate guy because I'm in the real estate.
Real estate guy.
That's my
That's
name.
outstanding. Outstanding. So, so you mentioned you were at a couple different brokerages and that kind of thing. What drew you to your current brokerage?
Wow. The current brokerage that I'm in is very unique in that we were looking to franchise our company. I actually owned the franchise along the way
Mm-hmm.
for a
Mm-hmm.
short period of time. And I found out that, having to do a franchise was very, or to become a franchisor was very
Mm-hmm.
expensive. I wanted to take my
Mm-hmm.
company, which is One Stop Realty. I wanted to take that across the country. Wanted to start regionally. Very expensive. But I saw this company, EXP Realty, and I saw that, hey, I could build my company and never leave my house. So we're a
Okay.
virtual real estate company. We're a cloud-based virtual real estate company. We're now in. Back then, it was only 3 of us in the state. There was only 13
Mm-hmm.
states. Now we're in 50 states and 18
Mm-hmm.
countries around the world. So,
Wow.
and 75,000,
International.
yeah, 75,000 agents. So we've kind of taken something that was very small idea with the president, CEO Glenn Sanford, his idea of how this would work. And rather than reinvent the wheel, I just plugged into that, and it's worked very well for me. And that's why I made the change from my boutique shop to becoming
Mm-hmm.
an agent owner of this company, EXP Realty.
Outstanding. And I understand that you have you mentioned it a little bit earlier. You have grown your own team or
Yeah,
mini brokerage. I'm not sure if I'm using the right term under the
yeah.
EXP umbrella. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so it's kind of like I have a company in the company, whereas I'll attract folks to the company, and Glenn Sanford, in his infinite wisdom, made a decision that, hey, we could take, uh, instead of the broker being the person that makes all the revenue and has the ownership, why not pass this on to the agents to give them the opportunity to uh, have some ownership and revenue? Because in a real estate company, the broker has to pay all the bills, all the staff, hire
Mhm.
the space, get the lease. And it's expensive. Everybody can't do it. But for $85 a month, he was able to make people partners in the real estate business and generate revenue by attracting other people to the
Mhm.
company. And when they went,
Mhm.
on the stock market, they went public. Now, when agents sell a house, they can get stock ownership in the company. And then there's another
Okay.
level above that. So there's lots of ways for them to make money. And I said, I need to be able to help some other folks, a small guy. This is exactly how I want to grow my business. And I bought hook, line, and sinker on the model, and I've been here
Okay.
ever since.
Ever since. Outstanding. Outstanding. So how, if you don't mind me asking, how has your mini brokerage or team, how many has it grown since you
Right.
joined
We're over
under your
253 agents, in my
wow.
group, 253 agents, and they're throughout the state and Maryland, DC, uh, all the way up to Rhode Island, as far down as Atlanta, Georgia, and out to Texas and California is where my group has expanded.
Am-
And I haven't had to leave to open up an office anywhere. And that's just growing
Outstanding.
viciously. Oh, and I
That
hired
is
my
it.
first agent from India.
Oh, really? Wow. Wow.
Yeah,
Worldwide, truly the
right,
real estate guys worldwide, right?
right.
So I probably know the answer to this next question, but I'm gonna ask it anyway. Um, what would you say was the key that has made you successful?
Uh, I guess the key thing is having a goal. Something, a goal and a plan. I had to have a goal. Then I had to plan. I had to strategically put together a business plan to uh, show me the steps that I needed to go to make sure that,
Mhm.
hey, I'm on target and I'm not going to get diverted. But I had a goal in mind as to what I wanted to do. One of the goals that I wanted to do was just have a regional office. But then that got
Mhm.
bigger when I saw EXP, and I said, well, okay, I can have agents in every state in the U.S. Then now that we're national, we're in 15 different countries. My goal is 18 different countries. My goal is to have agents in all of those countries in my as partners in my group. So that's where I wanted to.
Outstanding. So it sounds like to me, in addition to what you said, is that you've not only taken and embraced the model that you're under, but you've proactively gone out to help other agents, especially new agents who want to get in the business, kind of get in under your tutelage, and you help them build their business as well. So
Yeah.
outstanding, outstanding work.
Thank you.
Another thing I wanted to just kind of touch on, and so this is a little bit outside of the may still be connected, but what would you say? How and you can kind of answer this in present or past tense. How are you currently serving, or have you served your community, and what you personally, what are your kind of target markets for yourself?
Yes, well, early on in the business, um, in the 70s, it wasn't easy for African American Black man to get into the mortgage banking field. I had some folks that were very instrumental in helping my career. One of them was the National Association of Real Estate Brokers, NARAB, which called themselves
Okay.
Realtist. I joined that
Hmm.
organization, and I was doing loans for their clients. And back then I was doing hard money, but they said, hey, if you get FHA, HUD, then we'll give you all of our business because the hard money stuff is raping our communities, just stripping them of their wealth. So I went back and got FHA approved to become a correspondent lender. And NARAB, I've stayed in touch with them and been a member ever since in some capacity on a local level. I've served on the national level. I've also served as a board of directors member, the regional vice president. I've been here and educating our communities around the country with NARAB. I'm now the local board president, of this local chapter here in Northern Virginia, which is my primary market home. But
Outstanding.
we have chapters all around the DMV to help,
Gotcha.
educate. One other thing is I'm very connected with NATPAC, RPAC, uh, legislatively, because I realize that, if you're not at the table, then you're probably on the menu. So, I want to stay very well in touch as to what's going on politically so that we don't get tracked, blindsided with some of these laws and things that come through that can hurt home ownership in our communities.
Outstanding, outstanding. So you've connected with local agencies that whose mission is to improve the home ownership opportunity in your area. Sounds like
Correct.
with these
And Mark was
acronyms.
saying about
What do they stand for? Those acronyms that you just mentioned.
NAREB stands
RPAC,
well, RPAC.
not
RPAC is the Realtor PAC, Political Action Committee. NATPAC is the National Association of Real Estate Brokers Political Action Committee. In order to get things done with politicians, it takes money. So we raise money to go in and talk to our legislators and congressmen, senators, and we support them. The ones that have housing as part of their platform.
initiatives.
We go in initiatives. Yeah, we want to make sure that they are focused on helping our communities, not taking stuff away from them. I don't know if you remember years ago that there was a big thing about taking away the mortgage interest deduction. So we fought that tooth and nail. There's always something that's going on. We got to just help get the health insurance bill paid for, passed, for real estate professionals. So most real estate agents, out here, they're independent contractors. They don't have health insurance unless their spouse or something is involved. But we just got a big push, got it approved last month, got it passed through the House. So I think it's going before the Senate here. Yeah, so we're getting these bills passed that are going to help the people that are helping you in these professions. So we're always at the table, watch to make sure and see what things are going down.
Outstanding. So as we close out here, I got one more last question. Give a fun fact about yourself. What would something fun that you don't mind sharing with the audience here?
Don't mind at all. So two things. One, I was a judo instructor for some 7 years down in, I was a judo instructor, and I had a little stint of professional boxing. But since I was a young lad, I was a musician. I was a touring bassist for about 7 years, and I still play music. I play bass and I play a little keyboard, and I play for my church, my Bible study, and I love my music. That's the main thing. Some fun facts.
Outstanding. We got to get a jam session going on, man. I'm a percussionist. I kept saying to shows I was going to bring my drums in the studio and just kind of jam out for a minute. But I would love to be able to jam with you one day, man. I bring the the island sound that we do. But outstanding. It's been a pleasure to talk with you, Guy. Your wealth of wisdom and great things there in Northern Virginia and nationally, and open up opportunity for others to come in. And so I appreciate you taking the time to come on the show today and kind of share with us and share with the audience. And so everyone out there who's listening to us, you want to take a moment, take a screenshot and make sure you have his email, make sure you have his phone number, and you want to reach out to the real estate guy. As you can hear, he's full of service, and he has a lot of wisdom to help you make your ownership and home selling experience an amazing one. So clap it up for you, sir. Thank you so much for being on the show. Any closing thoughts as we get out of here?
No,
any more closing thoughts as we get out of here?
I just want to thank you for allowing me to be on your show. I think that what you're doing is great. I think that you're going to help a lot of people by just having this event, this show, and I'm glad to be a part of it. Thank you.
Outstanding. So you have a great rest of your day, sir. I'm going to give you back the rest of your day, and we close out here on Real Pro Friday. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for taking time to be with us today. Hopefully you learned something or have some information will be able to help you. Make sure that you definitely you want to reach out to Mr. Guy Allen. You want to reach out to him today. Him and his team can help you buy a house, help you sell a house, and live your American dream. So thank you so much. Until next time, this is your boy, Sean Wilson, Sales Manager, New American Funding. Tune in every third Thursday of every month at 2 o'clock from Dream to Reality live, where we share actionable information for first-time home buyers that you can take back to your community and to your friends and family, and just have a conversation as you plan for home ownership endeavor. This first quarter, we've been talking about and just finished up with credit on yesterday. Next month, we will review credit a little bit and get into and close out collateral. Our home buying series starts in April, the first Thursday in April. So more information is going to come out regarding that. And then this show, Real Pro Fridays, is every single Friday at 2 o'clock. Next week, we have a dynamic professional coming and we'll give you more information about that. So thank you so much for being with us again, and I'll give you back the rest of your day.